Are you ready to stop the self-sabotage and create the life you desire? Well, in order for that to happen, you need to break free from the bad beliefs that are holding your success hostage. You need to optimize the stress by turning it into extra energy for success. And those hurtful habits? Well, we need to give that pain a purpose for progress. Welcome to Stop the Self-Sabotage and Create the Life You Desire podcast. What is the number one fear you have? No, it's not the fear of public speaking. It's not the fear of snakes or spiders. Those are danger. They're not fear. It's not, as one of the current commercials that running says, it's the fear of buying the wrong mattress. No. The number one fear you have was instilled in you before age 8, and that is the fear of being wrong. Someone said rejection. That fits in under this mother of all fears. The mother of all fears that leads to everything else is the fear of being wrong. Because think back to when you were a child. What happened to you when you were wrong? And this is still playing out in your life today because there is a part of you that believed there would be terrible consequences if you were wrong. All you have to do is get on social media right now. You already know this, and see people pointing fingers at each other and telling them how they're wrong for their beliefs, for their focus, for their actions. And it's not the adult, mature part of them that is acting that way. It is the child within them that is being triggered, because no one taught them how to master themselves. So welcome to today, Shame versus Guilt, the lies that you believed about you, because there's actually 6 of them, but we're going to cover the main one today, which is going to be the fear of being wrong. Okay, getting over here to my notes. What else are we covering today? We're going to cover the difference between shame, guilt, fear, and danger. Because if you don't understand the differences between those four, you will continually be locked in to what's known as reactions. Reactions are based on past pain. Responses, being responsibility, those are based on future impact. So if you do not understand the difference between those, you will continue to be controlled by your past conditioning that people in authority gave you, not because of your brilliance, but because of who they wanted you to be for them to be okay. And then how to use what's known as the law of polarity to be able to right yourself, taking the right actions at the right time for the right results. Who am I to share all of this with you? If you're new to my world, Dawn Ferguson. I am a certified hypnotist, certified instructor. I train others to be able to do this, and a rapid results coach. And the rapid results coach comes in that you should get results today. This is not something that's going to take months or weeks or even days. No. Same day results. Because if you can't get some sort of result, not resolution, but some sort of result where your powerful mind is seeing that things are already upgrading, then it'll quit on you. It'll quit on you within 72 hours. So you really don't care about the initials behind my name. What I need to do is I need to earn the right to be in your life. So let's get right to it. Your number one fear. The number one fear is the fear of being wrong. Think back to how you were punished when you were wrong in the past. And so we confuse that with danger, because whenever a child or a young adult, teenager, is dependent upon their authority figures, such as their parents, to be able to provide for them, They run into danger in crossing those boundaries, those lines of what those adults want them to be, because then their ability to be provided for will be cut off. It's what's known as transfer of authority or transfer of power. It is said only approximately 3% at any time in our population, people are experiencing transfer of power, where they understand there are consequences to every single action that they take. There is a price to be paid, and they are willing to pay that price because they are in control of their focus. They've optimized their emotions, because the emotions and the challenges with them are not going to go away. You have to learn how to use it. And they're always into moving into progress instead of pain avoidance. Okay, so transfer of authority says that if it is to be, it is up to me. That even if I hire somebody and they screw something up, I'm still going to take responsibility for the fact that I hired them. They're still going to have to pay the consequences of that, but I still engage them. Okay, so unfortunately, as you were growing up, your power, your transfer of authority from your parents wasn't given from your parents back to you. You entered school, and then your parents assigned it over to your teachers. And then you graduated from school, and what happened? Well, the teachers then assigned that power over to your bosses, over to the people who were going to have some sort of control over your paycheck. Once this powerful part of your mind, known as your subconscious, accepts a way of being, it will continue to seek out people, places, and things to reinforce that being, to reinforce that identity. This is the reason why people try to change the quality of their life, and they don't get the success that they're looking for because they only change their actions. They did not upgrade the identity that is attached to those actions. So you never receive transfer of authority or transfer of power. And so the lies that you were told about you, that you could never be wrong, because if you were wrong, you would be punished. And that punishment would take away your ability to be cared for. Well, you're still operating then in that identity as an adult. I worked with several women last week that all had the same challenge, and they ranged in ages from 25 to 52. They never experienced the transfer of authority or transfer of power, and only you can do that for yourself. Now, you can have someone facilitate the process. In fact, I'm going to share with you in just a little bit how to be able to do that. But you have to start saying, if there's a price to be paid, I'm going to be the one to pay the price, not paying the price for what someone else wants me to be. See, there are always consequences. There's always consequences to your action, and your subconscious mind wants to be able to conserve resources. So it wants to be able to conserve resources on your focus, on your emotions, and on the energy you expend on those actions. It doesn't want to have to come up with something new after age 13. So this is the reason why you continue to repeat those habits and patterns based on what someone else wanted you to be. And so you never experienced discovering what you really wanted, and you're still paying the consequences of trying to fit in, thinking if you do it enough, you won't be punished. And yet what really happens is your powerful mind seeks out people, places, and things then to control you, to dominate you, to tell you what to do, and for them to make it okay for you in your world. Can you see why you've been having a challenge up to this point? By the way, if you're catching this on the podcast, you also see in the description of the podcast a link to this live video. If you're catching the live video or the video on Facebook, YouTube, or my website, you have the ability to comment below. So what I want you to do is I want you to give me a shout out with the hashtag September Success and your key takeaway from today. So podcasters, you're going to have to follow that link and watch the replay of the live video. But give me that and you will be put in a drawing for a $100 gift certificate that you can use towards any of my products, programs, or services. I want to make success easy for you. Okay. So let's move into the difference between shame and guilt, and have you confused it maybe with grief. Guilt says that we have violated one of our values. Values are simply emotional states that you've been conditioned to experience. Depending on who you talk to in the world of psychology, they'll tell you there are anywhere from 400 to I think it's like 4,000 different categories of emotions. You have been conditioned to experience 10 of them, 8 of them negative, 2 of them positive or progress oriented. And you continue to relive those again and again. Remember how I said earlier, your subconscious mind has an identity that will seek out people, places, and things to continue to reinforce it. So you will continue to seek out people that will reinforce the fact that maybe you should be ashamed of yourself. Shame says that you are flawed, that you are broken, that you cannot be fixed, because you cannot experience that transfer of authority that I talked about earlier. See, if you had transfer of authority, then you'd understand that it was guilt. Guilt says that I believe in certain things as far as being progress oriented, and if I break one of those values, I'm going to have some sort of regret over my actions. And that at that point, you get to own it so you can move forward. Shame says, no, you can't ever make it better. And you will continue to repeat the lies that you were told. And that lie that you were told was, you're wrong. And so you will find all the things in your life to be wrong about. And you'll repeat that pattern again and again. Have you confused shame with grief? Because shame is something that we'll experience as a child. But once we become an adult, what we're really doing when we experience the shame from our childhood, that we're so broken that we can't be fixed unless someone comes along and saves us, and now we're on the trauma triangle, that we're a victim and we have to have a hero. No transfer of authority there. So grief is, as an adult, how we experience shame when we are grieving over the lost opportunities, that the times in the past that held all of our what ifs. Well, what if I would have done this? And what if I would have done that? So I'm here to tell you, maybe you're experiencing levels of shame, but maybe it's really grief. And that grief is showing up saying, you hold the potential to be able to move forward, but you're not doing it because you're still coming from the identity of who you had to be for someone else to be okay. And as long as you continue to live out that identity, your life will never get any better. Because there's always a price to be paid. There's always consequences for your identity. And you are still paying that price that someone instilled in you a long time ago. Okay. Oh, by the way, if you want to know how to be able to do the massive identity upgrade for your own, go to drewdawnferguson.com/WFW, stands for Wealth from Within, where I take you through the 6 steps for an identity upgrade. But today, we're going to work on step 1. Okay, the law of polarity. How do you use that? You use the law of polarity. Well, let me explain what the law of polarity is first. The law of polarity says that everything is created as a whole. You see my front side? You know I got a backside, right? For up, there's down. For behind, there's forward. Well, that means for the wounded part of you, Well, there's a wealthy part. For the part of you that does not know how to move forward, that is stuck on that trauma triangle, there is a part of you that understands and has the knowledge of how to get off that trauma triangle and to be able to develop wisdom. Wisdom and knowledge, there's difference. Knowledge is there's memorization. Wisdom says you're actually moving and implementing, taking action on that knowledge, finding out what works, what does not, and then moving forward. So you've got the wounded part of you, you've got the wise part of you. And that's what we want to begin to access, is that wise part of you. So these are the steps that you follow. Step number 1, you have to put yourself into a state to where you can access this wounded part of you in your subconscious mind. Now, for many people, they can experience a little bit of a challenge being able to do this on their own. This is where I come in. I'm able to assist you with it, but it's what's known as parts therapy for inner conflict resolution. See, we have a lot of different parts or aspects to our personality. You're one person when you're out with your friends. You're another person whenever you're at work and being very diligent. And another part of your personality comes out when you're very intimate with that special someone. Challenges come in whenever the different aspects of your personality are confused on their job descriptions. And you have that younger you that wounded you, that was taught that they should be ashamed, that was taught that they should fear being wrong. That has a lot of imprints and triggers, continuing to find the people, places, and things that are going to set it off. So that part of you is coming out at the inappropriate times. This aspect is held in your subconscious mind. So you need to put yourself in a state to where you can access this part of your personality. Once you access it, you want to go through 4 steps. It's known as the 4 R's. Just like there was reading, writing, arithmetic, and recess when we were in school, we have reveal, release, relearn, rejoice. So reveal. You reveal the part of your personality, that aspect that is wounded. Then you move into release. This is how you now let it know it's no longer supposed to do this. I don't know. That younger part of you, I'm not quite sure what it was supposed to do in life, but it was supposed to do it with youthful enthusiasm and joy. And that's not what it's been experiencing. So you have to release it from being triggered in your everyday adult world with the same old paradigms, because it will keep showing up with that pain that you've experienced with the fear of being wrong. And then you're going to go into grief all over again. Okay, so you have to reveal it. Then you have to release it from showing up. Then we go into the 3rd step, which is known as relearn. This is when we let it know that it is supposed to do whatever you were the very best at as a child. For me, I loved to read, and you get the benefit of that because I typically consume 20, 30 hours of the latest psychological techniques and studies and information, and then I funnel all of that in to what it is that I offer you. Okay, so that's the younger part of me getting into that, but I can't have that younger part of me showing up when I'm working with a client, because all it wants to do is get into the psychological aspects. I need the law of polarity, that wise woman to come out and be able to hear what it is that you have going on, and then say, okay, let's take this wisdom and apply it to your circumstance. So relearn, you've got to allow that younger you to be who they really were in life. when it is appropriate for them to come out. But then there's a second part to this. That second part of relearn is the wise woman or the wise man, what I call the goddess or Adonis. It needs to come out. It needs to start implementing with focus, optimizing the emotions, and moving forward, not into danger situations. Danger is whenever you are under threat. This is where you take the fear, because the fear is not going to go away. Fear is simply extra energy that says, how are we going to handle this? So it's extra energy for success. So you take that fear now to be able to move forward. And then the last one, rejoice. How are you going to pat yourself on the back for all parts of you now pulling together for your whole identity? The wealth from within, from wounded to wealth, from poverty consciousness to prosperity in all areas of your life. How are you going to pat yourself on the back? Because your subconscious mind will not continue to take action it does not get rewarded for. See, your success has to be sustainable. And if you're constantly taking things away from yourself, well, I can't do that, I can't do that, what kind of reward is that? It's not. Okay. So you have to put together a reward system. Now, I recommend that reward system take place at least once every 21 days. Longer than that, and your subconscious mind will give up on you. Okay, so to begin to summarize, go to drewdawnferguson.com/WFW, Wealth from Within. You're going to see this course. You'll have immediate access to it, to where I give you all 6 steps to upgrade your identity in every area of your life. You also have the bonus that if you have a session with me this month, you will get access to this course as my thank you gift to your success. You'll also get my course, Life Mastery Through Self-Hypnosis, when you have a private session with me. So that way you're not dependent upon me for your success. I want to do transfer of authority, transfer of power. So what did we look at? We looked at what's the number one fear you have about you. The number one fear out of the 6 fears, this is the mother that gives birth to the other 5. The number one fear is the fear of being wrong. And so you will do everything you can to be right, but you will do everything you can to be right that goes along with your previous conditioning and programming. So if you are programmed to be ashamed of who you are broken, you are flawed, you cannot be fixed unless you have someone else in your life doing it for you, well, you will do everything to prove that's right. Oh, okay. The difference between shame and guilt. Shame says you can't ever get any better. Guilt says you violated a value. Okay. Well, let's find out what you need to value about you. What are you absolutely phenomenal at? That youthful enthusiasm, that childlike innocence that's ready to explore the world, as well as the wise woman, the wise man. That's what needs to be brought out. And when you violate that, that's when you feel guilty. Is it grief? Is it grief that you're experiencing because you didn't have the skill set to be able to move from the wounded part of you to the wealthy part? Fear and danger. Fear says, okay, we need to be on point and we need to be moving forward. We need to be moving into progress. Danger is what you need to avoid. And danger is when someone tries to take your power away, when they try to tell you who you are. No, not allowed, not in my world. And then the law of polarity to right yourself. The law of polarity says that everything is created as a whole. For the part of you that it is wounded, you have the wealth, but you need to be able to move that younger you out of the way so the wealthy you can step forward. There's no place for it to move in right now. And remember, give me a shout out. with hashtag September Success and your takeaway from today. And you will be put in a drawing that will then give you a $100 gift certificate that you can use towards any of my products, programs, or services. I am going to announce that winner the beginning of October. Oh, we've covered quite a bit today. So, as I conclude, I want you to think about this. The world, well, it's a pretty dark place right now. It needs your light more than ever. It's what I call your unique brilliance. It's based on your identity. So what you need to do is you need to turn your light on even brighter, because when you do that, it's easier for others to find their own light switch for them to be able to do the same. Until we get together, blessings on your brilliance. Bye now.